Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's an honor to be here this morning with Greg McMeekin, who's Alberta's disability advocate, Kevin McNichol, who is the CEO of Prospect Human Services, Jacob McGregor, the chair of the Premier's Council for the Status of Persons with Disabilities, and Catherine Such, the CEO of Easter Seals Alberta Society. I appreciate them taking their time to be here with us this cold, snowy morning in Calgary. And thank all of you today for being here to join me for this important announcement that will be for a new program to bring better support for Albertans with disabilities. Today, nearly 5 million Albertans call Alberta home. Over 1 million Albertans, that's more than 20% of Albertans, live with a disability. I think we are all aware of how quickly our province's population is growing, but it may surprise some of you at how the prevalence of disabilities is growing as well. Over the last 12 years, Alberta's population grew by 22%, while the number of Albertans with disabilities grew by 172%. This includes an 88% increase in the number of those with severe disabilities. All of these people have unique needs and abilities, and as the Minister of Seniors, Community and Social Services, it is my job to support and empower Albertans with disabilities. Since 1979, the Assured Income for the Severely Handicapped, or the AISH program, has ensured that Albertans with disabilities have a stable income and the health and personal supports that they need. And even after nearly 50 years, it is still the only program available to in Alberta to provide these type of benefits to working age adults with disabilities, specifically those from ages 18 to 64, whose disabilities prevent them from being able to earn a living. Today, over 77,000 Albertans rely on the AISH program to meet their basic and health-related needs. However, Albertans with disabilities and the organizations that support them have made it clear that they need a program that meets their unique needs and abilities rather than a one-size-fit-all solution offered by AISH. Albertans with disabilities have stressed the importance of providing pathways to employment for individuals who are able to work but still need to receive benefits, and AISH is not designed to provide this type of support. I regularly receive letters from Albertans making an impassioned plea for people on AISH to be given the supports they need so that they can join the workforce and feel useful, productive, and independent. We have received hundreds of such letters over the years, and I've also had Albertans with disabilities tell me this directly. One example that sticks with me is an Albertan who recently emailed the Premier. This lady has been receiving AISH and CPP disability for nearly 8 years. She has a commerce degree, and prior to the onset of her debilitating illness, was employed as a project manager and an accountant. She said, and I quote, "It is not healthy to sit in a room all day and do nothing. It is a waste of resources and brain power. I want to work. I am capable. I would rather earn my money than be handed it and trapped in a room all day. Please help people feel useful, productive, and proud of themselves again." Let me be clear, she is not alone. Many Albertans on AISH want to work, but are afraid of losing the benefits they need or getting lack of access to the resources that they need to get back into the workforce. We know that persons with disabilities face higher daily costs related to their health, and that the fear of losing health benefits discourages them from seeking employment and creates a barrier for greater independence. Plenty of Albertans on AISH already have an employment history, and some just need some support to rejoin the workforce. In fact, about 13% of Albertans currently on AISH are already working. That's over 10,000 people. But they are forced to limit the amount of work that they do so that they do not lose access to the benefits that they need. This is not right. People with disabilities should not be punished for quitting a job or required to quit a job to be able to continue to make sure that they receive their disability payments. Every dollar they earn on a paycheck should be helping make them better off, not threatening to take away their access to the medication that they need. People with disabilities shouldn't have to choose between getting the support they need and having the opportunity to pursue a meaningful career. Experts agree that if someone can include work as part of their life, even to a small extent, they will be better off. Not only are they personally better off and have a higher quality of life, but our entire society is better off because of it. According to a recent study by Alberta Treasury Board and Finance, it's estimated that people with disabilities directly contribute $49.7 billion to Alberta's GDP in 2021, plus an additional $15.7 billion indirectly. That's 13% of the province's total GDP directly contributed by people with disabilities. They also found that Albertans with disabilities make considerable contributions in every sector of the province's labour market, helping grow the economy and strengthening our communities. Even further, they found that more than half of those with disabilities who were unemployed were considered to have work potential. And if those Albertans with disabilities were able to work or were employed, they could have contributed an additional $18.7 billion to Alberta's GDP, generating $9.5 billion in additional labour income, supporting almost 184,000 jobs in 2022, and making an immeasurable impact on their communities. This would have raised the total GDP contribution for Albertans with disabilities to over $80 billion in 2022 alone. Now, what's stopping them from doing that exactly? Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, it largely comes down to the fact that Alberta's current program for people with disabilities, AISH, isn't designed to support those who are able and willing to work. This begs the question, why isn't there a program to support those with disabilities so that they can work to their full potential? Albertans with disabilities deserve the opportunity to enjoy the benefits of working, such as earning a paycheck, building relationships, developing skills, and providing a sense of purpose, independence, and belonging to their community. Everyone deserves to have a chance to feel that they are needed in the workplace, that they are an asset to a team, that they are capable of finding success, and that they can pursue the career that they want. And this should not come at the expense of losing out on benefits and support that they rely on. That's why I'm incredibly excited to announce that by July 2026, we will be launching a full new benefit program for people with disabilities in our province. The new Alberta Disability Assistance Program, or ADAP, has been thoughtfully designed based on input from Albertans with disabilities to address a gap in support for individuals with disabilities who are able to work and want to enjoy the benefits that come with employment. Our goal is to provide more Albertans with disabilities the opportunity to enter the workforce and to pursue a meaningful career while ensuring they have the supports to meet their unique needs. This program will support those with disabilities, whether permanent or short-term, who are able to work, providing financial, medical, and personal benefits. Albertans on ADAP will be able to earn more from working while continuing to receive the financial benefits they need with higher earning exemptions than any other program. This is similar to AISH, but with higher earning exemptions, Albertans with disabilities will be able to bring home bigger paychecks without being penalized. Once a person reaches the max earnings and is no longer eligible for monthly financial benefits, they will continue to be eligible for their health benefits for life. This means that Albertans on ADAP will be able to receive the same robust health benefits as those on AISH, regardless of their employment income. Even better, through ADAP, Albertans with disabilities will not only receive the financial and health benefits they rely on, but they will have access to the resources and the tools they need to gain new skills and be able to work to their full potential. To support this, Alberta's government will be investing more to expand employment supports and encouraging private sector employees to break down barriers to employment for people with disabilities. Some of these employment supports include career planning, resume assistance, interview preparation, training, exposure courses, simulated work sites, and supported job placements. The goal is to help people increase their independence, their earnings, and their participation in their community. Now, we know that there are many individuals with disabilities who cannot work, and I want to be clear that AISH is not going away. Alberta provides some of the most comprehensive supports amongst the provinces for people with disabilities, and our government is committed to ensuring that Alberta continues to have the best disability programs in our country. The long-standing AISH program will still be there for those with permanent and severe disabilities who are unable to work. Applications will continue to be processed to ensure eligible applicants receive benefits as soon as possible. All existing AISH clients will be assured of a place in either ADAP or AISH going forward once that new program is fully launched. Those currently on AISH will continue to receive their existing benefits until they are able to be placed in the program best suited for their unique situation. Their care and well-being will be prioritized as this new program is implemented. And as it is a legislative program, AISH will remain fully funded and available to all eligible Albertans. But for those with a disability who can work, the supports offered through AISH fall short. And these individuals will be much better served through a program that offers robust employment supports, generous earning exemptions, and ultimately a path towards greater independence. So how will all this work? Well, starting today, we will begin the work to be able to put in the building blocks for the new ADAP program with an expected full launch start by July of 2026. Disability assistance applicants will be assessed for both the new program and AISH, ensuring eligible applicants are placed in the program best suited to their unique situation. I know the process to apply to these programs can be complex, which is why we are also taking steps to streamline the application process so Albertans with disabilities can get the supports that they need sooner. There will be as a single combined application for ACE and ADAP, and an applicant's need and situation will determine which program they are eligible for. Additionally, applicant approvals will be streamlined by establishing a new review panel made up of medical professionals with expertise required to better understand the needs of the applicants. Beyond the application itself, we're making the medical assessment process quicker and more accessible by connecting applicants with a roster of pre-qualified medical professionals that are able to complete their comprehensive medical assessments. Albertans will now have the option of having a medical professional on the pre-qualified list or their family doctor complete their medical assessment. These improvements, along with the new program, will ensure Albertans with disabilities are better supported, empowering those who can and want to work with the tools they need to help them do so. More details and updates will be provided as we continue to build this program over the coming year, and I look forward to launching it ultimately and bringing forward the new Alberta Disability Assistance Program and seeing how it will positively impact thousands of Albertans with disabilities for a generation to come. Thank you again for being here, and with that, I'd like to invite Alberta's advocate for persons with disabilities, Greg McKeon, to share more on how this new program will benefit Albertans with disabilities.
Thank you very much, Minister Nixon, for the opportunity to join you for this announcement today. Good morning, everyone. As Alberta's advocate for disabilities, my role is to represent the rights, interests, and viewpoints of persons with disabilities in the province of Alberta. Every day, my office hears the challenges people with disabilities face, including challenges with housing, access to medical supports, and access to a better, robust income. With the announcement of ADAP today, persons with disabilities will earn more and it will ensure access to health benefits and provide more valuable employment supports to help people reach their full potential. I'm very pleased with the government of Alberta's ongoing commitment to better support Albertans with disabilities, and I look forward to seeing the positive impact this new program has for people with disabilities in the province. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jacob McGregor. I'm the chair of the Premier's Council for the Status of Persons with Disabilities. What a tremendous day this is, and a long time coming as well. Disability supports that encourage employment and participation in our communities rather than penalize them. And I'd like to say just how proud I am to be up here today. The bottom line coming from this is that supports will be faster to access and more appropriate. Premier's Council looks forward to shaping the details of this program that's going to change lives and be a groundbreaking example for the rest of Canada as to how to shape disability supports in the future, and a large step towards making Alberta the most accessible province in Canada. Premier's Council looks forward to the launch in 2026 and to making this program fair, easy to transition to, and disability informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Go ahead, Kevin.
It's hard to follow those two great speakers, and Greg and Jacob. I'm Kevin McNichol with Prospect Human Services, and we've been in the business of supporting and partnering with persons with disabilities for more than 60 years to find employment. And I'm here to say that this program is a game changer, and I can't wait to partner with the Alberta government, the disabilities communities to make this come true. The already been talked about, the impact of employment goes far beyond an income. That income will be substantial for persons who are able to participate in this program, but the ability to participate and find meaning by being involved in the community through work, I can attest, is immeasurable and invaluable. I would share two stories very quickly that just highlight the numbers that were cited here. We have an individual that we've worked with for many years, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur in Edmonton, running 3 businesses. And it took some fancy stick work to have his health benefit extended. There was no way that he would be able to sustain that benefit on his own without the support of his Alberta government supports and income supports. But he is living on his own, supporting himself, and managing those 3 businesses. And this program is tailor-made, and if it were in place 10 years ago, he'd have been much further ahead. The second story is we had a father who came to us a number of years ago, 2 sons with significant developmental disabilities, and said, I'm going to take a chance in your program, and I don't think my kids will ever be able to work. They are both now fully employed, working in an auto dealership in the detailing department, and have been sustainably working there for more than 5 years. Dad wrote us the other day saying, this is a game changer for me. I thought I would have to, and my entire life was oriented to supporting my children after I pass, because I didn't think they would be able to sustain themselves on the benefits and the income that was available to them without employment. They are now fully employed. This is a father who is overjoyed, and I know these two young men are contributing and having the time of their lives detailing cars, which is their passion. What a difference, and I think this program will produce more and more of those types of stories. So as Prospect Human Services, I applaud the government of Alberta. I can't wait for this program. July of 2026 can't come soon enough. That's my plug, Minister. We're ready to roll, and I know that many in the community will take advantage of this. Thank you.
Easter Seals Alberta has always been a strong advocate for empowering people with disabilities, and we are so excited to hear about this new program and the potential it has for people with disabilities. We commend the Alberta government for taking this momentous step to enhance opportunities for people with disabilities, ensuring they can earn income without fear of losing that vital support. For many people with disabilities, employment isn't just about earning a paycheck. It's about purpose, independence, and inclusion. And this program allows for new opportunities for people to contribute to their communities in ways that work for them. It recognizes that people with disabilities have talents, ambitions, and the ability to pursue meaningful employment without jeopardizing their financial or medical stability. We understand that this new program must be designed with the best interests of people with disabilities at heart, and Easter Seals Alberta is committed to advocating for clear guidelines, transparent implementation, and ongoing dialogue to ensure that the program reflects the needs and realities of those that it serves. The program represents an important shift about how we think about employment and disability, moving beyond limitations towards empowerment. Today's announcement is a step in the right direction, and we hope that it will lead to greater opportunities for individuals with disabilities in Alberta to thrive. We are excited about the possibilities this program creates and look forward to supporting the efforts of the Government of Alberta, employers, and the disability community to help make it a success. Together, we can build a future where people with disabilities are supported, empowered, and given the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Thank you, Catherine. This concludes the formal portion of our announcement today. We'll open the floor to questions from the media. It'll be 1 question, 1 follow-up. Please state your name and outlet for the record. And is there anyone in the room first who has a question? Please just head on over to the mic. Seeing none, operator, can you please put through the first caller?
Our first question comes from the line of Morgan Black from Global News. Your line is open.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to ask the minister a question related to tariffs. Minister, I'm sure you saw a White House representative citing social disorder in downtown Edmonton as part of the reason why these fentanyl-fueled tariffs are coming. I know the province has spent money on securing the Alberta border to ease those concerns, but I'm wondering, what about any additional spending on social issues?
Well, when it comes to Edmonton, Alberta spent at record rates when it comes to tackling both homelessness and the drug epidemic in Edmonton, and has also continued to push the city of Edmonton to manage that situation that's taking place specifically in our capital city in a different way. It's why we move forward in partnership with the Edmonton Police Service to dismantle encampments, to be able to increase our shelter capacity to a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week system that is operating now in that way for well over a year and will continue to do so. It's why we have invested hundreds of millions of dollars into affordable housing projects, including over the last 2 years alone in Edmonton, 3 very big projects specifically for the hard to house on top of the regular affordable housing work that we do, plus the work that, of course, Minister Williams' department is doing when it comes to investing in addiction treatment spaces. We will continue to make that investment. I think just on homelessness alone in the city of Edmonton, my department will spend somewhere around $85 million this year alone, and we will be looking at similar type of investments in the coming year. What is clear is that letting encampments and other areas like that take over a city is not the way to handle this issue. It reflects very bad on the province, but more importantly, it does not care for the people that need care inside those circumstances. We've seen already explosions yet again this year and other things that have taken place in those encampments that prove it's dangerous. And the number one way that we need to continue to address homelessness and the drug epidemic is to get people to both the navigation center and to other service providers to give them access to the best services that we can to be able to help them deal with their circumstances.
Thank you, Andrea. Do you have a follow-up?
I do, yes. So I know the Premier and some ministers have traveled to Washington and will return to Washington to discuss border and fentanyl concerns with the U.S. counterparts. I'm wondering how you think we convince folks in Washington then that your investments have worked and change is coming if just last summer he was saying that he saw these issues and was concerned about what was happening in Edmonton.
Well, the Premier and Cabinet have met today on tariffs and our coordinated response as a government when it comes to this issue. I'm not going to get into the specifics exactly what's been discussed in Cabinet today. The Premier needs to be the one to speak to this. She's done an excellent job advocating in the United States about the mechanisms that we utilize across the board when it comes to things like border security, where we will be absolutely excited to talk about the groundbreaking work that we are doing when it comes to recovery, when it comes to addictions or to caring for people that face addictions inside our province. And I would refer you to the Premier more specifically on how she would like to utilize that communication with the Americans in her overall tariff strategy.
Thank you, operator. Can you please put through the next caller?
Our next question comes from the line of Janet French from CBC Edmonton. Your line is open.
Good morning. I also have some questions about tariffs. I just wanted to follow up after yesterday's roller coaster. One of the things that a lot of Canadians are looking at is how do we become less reliant on the U.S. as such a dominant trading partner? What immediate steps do you think the Alberta government should be taking to protect its economy from this uncertainty?
Well, look, again, the Premier is going to continue to lead and speak on behalf of all the Cabinet for our overall plan when it comes to tariffs. I will point out she's proven to be right on a couple of things even in this week alone. She was the first one that came out that said we need to focus on border issues, on the fentanyl issue, to bring forward a czar on those issues, which now I know the federal government has done. And so, we're going to continue to advocate that the federal government responds to the concern that our largest trading partner has when it comes to things like national defense and border issues. And going forward, we also have to continue to have a conversation within Confederation, which Premier, I think, has been very clear about. which is the fact that we find ourselves still having to sell the vast majority of our resources to just the Americans as a result of very bad policy decisions made by the federal government over a long period of time. We would be in an extraordinary different circumstance right now if we didn't go and block every pipeline going in every direction over the last several 10 years. And so we need to work to be able, with our largest trading partner, our friends the Americans, as the Premier has said, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep those markets open. And at the same time, we need to learn a lesson from this process. Canadians come together and work to be able to make sure that we provide access for the resources and the products that we sell to different markets. And so I hope that we finally see the federal government take that seriously. Let's start with pipelines and railroad expansion and port expansions to make sure that we're not sending 80% of our products to just one trading partner. But again, at the same time, that we're working to address the challenges that have been brought forward and asked for us to have a look at by our largest trading partner.
It's like you could predict my next question. When leaders are talking about these interprovincial trade irritants, are you solely referring to oil and gas pipelines, or are there other interprovincial trade barriers you think are stymieing Alberta's choices?
Well, look, I'm not the Minister of Jobs and Economy nor the Premier, and so I'm not going to say very specifics on their behalf. I can tell you that I'm proud to have been part of the United Conservative Party government through multiple administrations that's focused on trade barriers, interprovincial trade barriers in particular. I think it's pretty clear that Alberta has removed more trade barriers in Confederation than any other province, and we would really encourage everybody to do so going forward. I refer you, though, for more a detailed, specific list of adjustments that have been made over the years in Alberta to Minister Jones, as well as anything that we'd be hoping to see in the short term. But no, we're not just an oil and gas economy. We can use ports to get lumber to other districts. Of course, oil and gas as well. What about other mineral resources that we're working on? And most importantly, our agriculture resources. Canada and this province is one of the greatest agriculture communities in the world, and we should not be stifling our opportunities by limiting large-scale resource transfer projects that can help get our agriculture products to the rest of the country. But you know how you do that? You build pipelines so that we can put oil in the pipeline to get to that area, and we can put cows and grain on trains to get to other areas. So at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to restricting pipelines, unfortunately, with some of the decisions that have been made by the federal government in the past.
Thank you, operator. Can you please put through the next caller?
Our next caller comes from the line of Andrea Hunker from CBC News. Your line is open.
Thank you. Good morning, Minister Nixon. A lot of concern over the years has been given about the amount of money AISH recipients receive, that it's not enough to survive. How much consideration has been given to the dollars saved on ADAP going towards more for AISH recipients?
You know, Alberta has the highest AISH rates in the country right now. We, as a province, spent about $3.5 billion, roughly, I think, on our overall disability supports across the government. That would be, I believe, the equivalent of the fourth largest or the fifth largest ministry of government. And I think that articulates the priority that Alberta and Albertans have put into this space. We want to make sure that we're supporting people. What I'm announcing today is not about cost savings. What I'm announcing today is about making sure that the right people are in the right program and that we're not putting people into a program that is stifling their ability to contribute in a way that they may want to. You know, I'm sitting up here today with two excellent gentlemen, Greg and Jacob, who both are not only, facing the disabilities that they have bravely, and I think, in ways that I probably can't even understand, but are also at the same time being leaders in their communities simultaneously, working to be able to advance on behalf of other disabled Albertans, but working on behalf of all Albertans. And I don't want to see people like Greg and Jacob being stifled because they only have one program in our province. So Alberta's going to continue to have the most generous benefits, amongst the most generous benefits in the country. We're going to continue to put a high priority in both of these disability programs. And we will be taking any savings, if there are any, and really focusing on investing in things like employment supports and programs that can continue to make Albertans who face disabilities lives the best possible inside our great province.
Thank you. Do you have a follow-up?
I do. Minister Nixon, do you believe that ACE recipients receive enough funding monthly to survive?
I believe, again, that Alberta has the most generous ACE benefits in the country. I believe that we should. I believe this is an side of government that we should err on the side of generosity. What I'm announcing today is about making sure people are in the right program to be able to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish in their lives. What I do know is that taking individuals who face disabilities and putting them just onto ACE and telling them that they cannot contribute to society even though they are capable of and want to is highly inappropriate, is a flaw of the program, and something that today we are announcing we're going to fix.
May I speak a little bit to this as well?
Yeah, of course.
So with ADAP, ultimately we're hopefully going to be addressing some of this problem by lifting Albertans with disabilities out of poverty, allowing them to work and collect a powerful paycheck at an acceptable level so they don't have to rely on their income support benefits solely to survive and can focus on participating in the community and helping to boost Alberta's economy. This is going to invigorate a whole new sector of the population.
And if I could just piggyback on what the minister has said and what Jacob just alluded to me, this is about opportunity. This is about giving people an opportunity to build better lives, to support themselves, and to raise their standard of living. Most people want to live independently, be self-sustained, and have a good, supportive environment around them. And I think this ADAP program is a great step in the right direction to be able to do this, and will aid in our efforts to improve inclusion and accessibility within our province.
Thank you, everyone. Operator, can you please put through the next caller?
Next question comes from the line of Sebastian Nemeth from Radio Canada. Your line is open.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Albertans living with disabilities will apply for financial aid, not knowing under which program they'll fall under, ACE or ADAP. Who will make the decision, and what will be the criteria to choose that panel?
Well, the criteria, again, will be about which of these two programs an individual in their unique circumstance is better off and best to be in. And at the end of the day, the specific criteria for that will be on capability of working and the medical circumstances that those individuals are facing with their disability. It will be determined through a medical application process which of those two programs best fits. It could change to a time. I should be very clear. I mean, it could eventually be circumstances as things progress that you could be on working for a period of time with supports, but eventually may end up on ACE, and that's fine. We'll make sure that there's the ability to make that adjustment as those situations take place. But it will be a medical determination based on circumstances, based on one's ability to work and or participate in the workforce. And ultimately what the goal here is to be able to make sure, again, people in the right program, but that individuals are better off, or who are better off in circumstances where they can work, or in a circumstance where they're going to have significantly more income as a result of that. And we don't want to see them being stifled and stuck into a disability program that is designed not to allow people to work and for those who cannot work.
Thank you, Sebastian. Do you have a follow-up?
I do, yes. Will there be an appeal process?
There will be an appeals process. Already is an appeals process for ACE decisions in our province. We will be making sure that appeals process has significantly more medical support for both the department and for individuals who are participating in it. But if somebody feels that they should have been on ACE and have been put on the other program, and that department has got that wrong, that will be appealed to a qualified medical panel who can make that determination, again, based on medical assessments.
Once again, if I can add, part of the process as we move toward July of 2026 will be to shape the exact details of what these assessment and appeals processes look like, as well as appropriate benefit levels. And as the chair of the Premier's Council, I look forward to participating in shaping these finer details so that when July 2026 comes around, it's easy to understand, it's transparent, and most of all, it's as inclusive as we can possibly make it.
Thank you. Operator, can you please put through the next caller?
Our next question comes from the line of Jack Farrell from the Canadian Press. Your line is open.
Hello, thanks for taking some questions. My first one, I'm hoping Greg and Jacob can both speak to it. As Jacob said, there's some time to figure out these finer details. Do either of you have some kind of, I'm not going to call them concerns, but when you're looking at this program and what it could be, do you have any thoughts on some cracks that need to be covered so people don't fall through them when this program officially launches?
Greg,
if you want to go.
Yeah, thank you. To me, this is about removing barriers to employment. We know that there are several barriers out there that people with disabilities face, and most barriers are specific to different people. No one person is the same. But I look forward to being involved in this process and with my team and I, and with Jacob and the Premier's Council, as well as the Minister, to really shape what this program looks like. We know that people with disabilities are concerned about making too much money while on the ACE program and having that money clawed back. And we also know that people are concerned about receiving ongoing medical benefits as needed. And from what I understand, this new program will not see a change in either of those two things. So again, I look forward to being involved in shaping this program as we go forward. But Jacob and I and many other advocates in the disability community are well aware of the issues that people face.
To jump off what Greg said, and he covered a lot of points which I would have mentioned, I will mention to you, I in particular am one of those Albertans who has tailored their pay structure so as not to affect their ACE benefits. And so having a program that will allow me to work with a more typical pay structure is extremely important to me. As far as concerns I might have, whenever you're rolling out a new program, the transition is always something that has a lot of unexpected potential for issues. And that's one of the things we look to address immediately in coming meetings. But as well, everybody's disability is different. So making the process of understanding and applying for these programs as easy to understand and as universally accessible as possible is certainly a priority.
Yeah, and I would add to that, we are taking every step we can to make sure nobody falls through the cracks. We don't want anybody to be concerned that somehow they may be losing disability benefits as a result of this. We are budgeting to make sure there are long periods of time with both transition top-ups while we figure out where everybody belongs. We are going to go through a very comprehensive process with the support of the organizations that help with both people facing disabilities, also with on the employment side, and this is why we're not launching today fully. We want to take a period of time to build the building blocks that we need to be able to make sure that we have two awesome programs. And the number one thing I want Albertans who are currently on AISH to know is that there is no risk of them not receiving disability supports in the future. This will be about which of these two programs is the best spot for them based on their circumstance, but they will be receiving one of those disability programs long term. It's also why we've really emphasized the health benefit portion of it as well. This is something when you talk to people who are working with disabilities is probably their biggest fear about stepping out to try to take on more hours and about trying to be able to move forward in a different way. And if in case something goes wrong, and to lose your health benefits is absolutely tragic. And so by us putting that in, that gives a really good fail-safe spot to be able to make sure that we let people be able to challenge themselves, but know that we have the program's still going to be there to support them if that doesn't work out. It's also, by the way, that health benefit thing goes a long way to also contribute and provide support to employers, because one of the challenges for employers is obviously they can't get a lot of the individuals, or probably all the individuals that are on our AISH program would not be eligible for their employment health benefits. And that puts them in a significant challenge as you try to navigate what that may look like. And so by the government doing that, we take that off the table. Again, providing stability. The whole goal here is to make a very stable situation and get everybody into the right spot so that they can have the best life possible in our province.
Thank you, Jack. Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, for Minister Nixon, and I guess really anybody at the table could answer this if they wanted to, but I'm really curious about like the news release that went out mentioned expanding employment supports and encouraging private sector businesses to break down barriers to employment, and obviously that's been a push for many years, not only in Alberta but really worldwide. How do we build off the work that's already been done when and to be perfectly blunt, like the recent examples of many big name corporations like Walmart and McDonald's getting rid of like DEI hiring programs. Like how do we build upon the work that's already been done when seemingly we're kind of moving in the opposite direction as a society?
Well, I think that we fall into a very dangerous spot if we try to compare the arguments that are happening in society around DEI hiring practices and in some way indicate that that conversation stop us moving forward on this important issue. I just went through numbers of what the disabled community is already contributing to GDP here in our province. It's significant. You're sitting up here today with two individuals who I have deep respect for that are facing challenging disabilities, and look at the leadership that they're providing in their community. So we know there are qualified individuals who can do the job well that often just need a little bit of support. We know that employers in our province have responded to that well when we have worked with them, and I fully anticipate that Alberta employers again will rise to that challenge when they see the opportunity that we're presenting, and the fact that the government is dealing with some of the big hurdles like health benefits. But what I would ask is probably Kevin and both Catherine, maybe if they wanted to supplement that a little bit on how they see that going. But I just want to be clear that the disabled community in Alberta, I mean, there's already 10,000 people currently on AISH, even with the significant restrictions on AISH that are entering that workforce each and every day and contributing to Alberta, and we're better off in this province as a result of their contribution. And I just want to make sure they get to continue to not only continue contributing, but get to contribute more in the future. Kevin, I don't know.
Pardon me, I thought you covered it quite well. I think one underlying piece here is choice. and the choice to have the opportunity to participate. And that's what the removal of these barriers, and I think have already been talked about quite well, that, hey, if I want to work and if I can work full time, then I want the choice to be able to do that as a person with a disability. And we want to give them that opportunity. Right now, the AISH benefit says, no, you are at extreme risk of losing that benefit if you were to even pursue that. So the removal of that is substantial. And my organization believes in sustainable, equitable employment, which means that if you're qualified to do a job, which many people with disabilities and on AISH are able, they are university educated often or have trades or certificates that would allow them to work, but they have barriers that prevent them, and one of them being the program that they're on. The removal of that gives them that opportunity to go out and compete fairly. And many employers, I want someone who can do the job. I'm an employer myself. I employ many persons with significant disabilities. If they're able to do the job, which they are, then they're going to be eligible to win that job just like every other Albertan. And that's what we're asking. And we're not asking for special dispensations. We're not asking for major changes to employers. Just give them a chance. And the evidence is there. They can and will participate to the extent that they are able to. And that's what an employer is asking for. So, and I think the value add of covering off on the medical benefit and the sustainability, plus the foundation of security for the persons who are on this program, gives them a significant lift up and de-risks it substantially for many employers. I think the harder job is we need to do a better job as organizations and maybe government to invite those employers to step up and participate. And I think I'll build on some of the tariff conversation. We rallied around a particular issue. This is another one, and I would say adds significantly to the economy, and I think people want to step up and participate, and employers are no different. So this is a great opportunity. Sorry.
If I can get in as well before I'll leave it to you in a second, but as far as specific employment supports, I would also mention the importance of things like the simulated workplace and the possible benefits involving training, which will mean more people are qualified and employers have an idea of how this person's workflow is going to look. But I'll pass it off to Catherine since I jumped in there.
Thank you. I completely agree with what my colleagues here have been saying, and I think it's important to note that this is a choice and that every person, this is going to look different for every person. There's no one situation that's going to meet the needs of every person with a disability, and that's why this program is coming into existence. So employer supports will look different, and how we train people will look different. So I think it's going to be something that we work through.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this program is not bringing forward quotas or specific requirements that employers will have to meet. I actually see it extraordinarily different than that. I think choice is the right word. A choice for both Albertans who are facing disabilities to be able to make a choice, to be able to participate where they want to in society, and for employers to be able to make a choice to be able to create work environments for different individuals to participate in their workforce. One of the things that we do during this process, and we will amp up, is showing some of the tremendous benefit to that employer being able to bring in a different type of talent to be able to deal with some of the things that they need within their workforce that they may not have understood that they would have access to, or how easy it would be to overcome certain hurdles to be able to make sure that they could have access to that talent that in the end will benefit their organization.
Thank you, everyone. We only have time for a couple more questions, so operator, can you please put through the last caller?
Our next question comes from the line of Lawrence Tashareu from Radio Canada. Your line is open.
Hello, thank you for taking my question. So it's my understanding that there's no maximum earnings under ADAP that has been determined yet. That's going to be one of the first questions on people's mind when they hear about this new program. So why are you not able to provide at this time more specifics on revenue criteria, revenue like max that you can reach to fall under the program?
Because I don't want to make this final program in a silo. So we've been working in consulting with the disability sector and employers and employment advocates over the last several months to be able to get together the rough framework of what we need. We know we need a different type of program, as I've laid out today, and now we can go forward with moving to build the building blocks to be able to make sure that we can fully launch this in July 2026. We'll be making some final decisions in consultation with others in the coming weeks that will line up with this budget and show the trajectory of where we're at. What I can say is that Alberta, for all of our disability programs, will remain amongst the highest in the country. We will continue to err on generosity for these programs, and that our focus right now is to remove barriers that are preventing people on the ACE program from being able to participate in the workforce. The reality is, obviously, both those programs end up with very different objectives under the way that this is being structured, and so they will need different funding formulas. But our goal here is that, those 10,000 individuals that we know are already working on ACE are going to be economically better off underneath that new program. And that ultimately is what our focus is about making life better for Albertans.
Thank you. Lawrence, do you have a follow-up?
I do. Will there be additional funding on the budget for ADAP, like when it comes to July 2026, or is it going to come from ACE funding being cut in half? How is that going to work?
ADAP and ACE will continue to be fully funded. ACE is a statutory program, legislative program that needs to be funded. There'd be no intention to change it. As we launch into the budget year, me and the department, for what is a $1.7 billion program, we'll be going through the same process we would any year based on projections of where we think the program will end up. You can never get that exactly right, but even if we get it wrong, we continue to top it up because it's a law that we need to pay it, and we have no intention of changing it. We want that program to remain. We think it's critical. What we're adding is another arm to that program that we think will help certain individuals that are on ACE or going to be on ACE significantly better economically, as well as psychologically, into some of the other areas that we've already covered today. But both programs will be fully funded in the Seniors Community and Social Services budget going forward.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes today's press conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.